Hello, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, we are going to be talking about the final question, number 60, in the math test inside of test 1 in your red book. So pause the video, read number 60, and the math test from test 1. Think about how you might go about solving it, and then press play, and I'll walk you through the solution. Alrighty, folks. This question is no joke. This is a difficult question. The reason that it's difficult is because the only way that you're going to know how to solve it is if you have taken a statistics class at your high school. You won't learn about expected values in Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, Pre-Calculus, or even Calculus. This is a strictly statistics topic. So if you haven't taken a statistics class, you probably have never seen this before. So this question, in general, is probably not a low-hanging fruit question. This is probably one that you're going to end up guessing on. But for those of you who want to see the solution anyway, I'm going to walk you through it. All right? Now, when I went through this question, I treated it like a word problem. Although it's not really a word problem, I treated it like one just so I could give myself a way to walk through it logically because there's so much going on. All right, so step 1, what am I trying to find in this problem? I'm trying to find the expected value of what they call a discrete random variable x. The way we denote this in statistics is E of x, the expected value of x, okay? So that's number 1, that's what we're trying to find. What do we know? Well, we know they give us this table. Everything we know, they give us in this table. And this is where this question becomes kind of a headache. Because if you don't have this formula memorized, you're not going to be able to get this question correct, unless you happen to guess it correctly. This is the formula for the expected value of a discrete random variable x. This shows us two things. Number 1, we talked about in your course how the test writers reward the people who know the formulas and punish the people who don't. They reward the people who know the shortcuts. So if you've taken a statistics class, they are relying on you having this formula memorized. All right? So you need to have this formula in your mind to solve this question. The formula, it says you take the sum from x equals your starting value, which in this case is going to be 0, all the way up to x equals your ending value, which in this case is going to be 6, of x times the probability that your discrete random variable is equal to that x value. That's a headache, but we're going to walk through it together anyway. We know based on our table that from our table that the starting value for x is 0. So our I index is going to be 0. We also know that the highest value of x, our endpoint, our upper limit, is going to be 6. So we are going to take the sum from x equals 0 to x equals 6. And let me show you how to take this and put it into a more digestible form. We're going to move on to step 3. We're going to solve the problem. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with 0, and we're going to find what this expression is when x equals 0. So 0 goes in for x because x equals 0. So the first step, we're going to have 0 times the probability that our discrete random variable equals 0. And you can see in this column, it gives us 1/6. So right off the bat, we're going to have 0 times 1/6 for our first piece. Now we add and move on to our next value of x, which is going to be 1. So we put in 1 for x and multiply by the probability that our discrete random variable equals 1, which if we come down to 1 and go over, we see that that probability is 1/12. Now we're going to do the same thing for x equals 2. We go up to the next highest x value, x equals 2. You'll have 2 goes in for x, times the probability that our big X equals 2, based on the table, that number is 1/4. And we're going to go so on and so forth through 3, 4, 5, and 6 until we have this entire expression filled out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I will catch up with you guys after I have done so. Okay, so I have now filled out my entire formula. This right here, all of this under subheading 3 is equivalent to this formula. All of this led us here. And now, in order to find our expected value, we have to find out what all of this is equal to. So what I would do is I would plug this entire thing into my calculator, being very careful with my parentheses. I'd plug in this entire expression, I'd hit enter, and then I would convert my answer into a fraction. And when I did that, I would get 19 over 6. Right? I would get 19 over 6 when I did that. And when I look at my answer choices, I don't see a 19 over 6 anywhere. In fact, all of the fractions are given as, proper fractions, whole numbers, or mixed numbers. I know that this cannot be a proper fraction because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So I'm going to look at it in terms of a mixed number. If I convert this into a mixed number, from 19, I can go 6, 12, 18. I can get 3 whole steps, and then I will have 1/6 left over to get us to 19. So your answer is actually 3 1/6, which is answer choice K.